You're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.fm network. Here we go, guys. This is Luca Zanna, and you're listening to Love, Guns and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is the hour about guns, okay? And as I said, guns for me, they are not a hobby. This is not a sport. There's no even hunting purposes. Yeah, of course, if you need to eat, the gun can be a good tool, but it could be also, for example, something else. But the point is, for me, guns means freedom, means it's an inalienable right. And everybody out there in this country, in America, in this United States of America, who try to really exercise this right in the right way, that means, lawfully, I think it's all my support. That's the bottom line. Because gun rights is like a muscle. Rights are like a muscle. Or you use them or you lose them. Many times you have in different states different laws. Not just because you have the law that says that you're able to open carry that rifle, that gun, means that you can do it. Yes, you can do it, but if you never do it, the day you will try to do it, guess what? You're going to see the reality. So it's good for men and women out there that they exercise their rights, in my opinion, especially when they have in the state constitution, they have the right spelled out that you can open carry or conceal carry every way you have to do it according to your state. Now, I already had on my show a couple of times at least a patriot. I call him a patriot because somebody for me who's putting his life at risk for an ideal and for the principles of our constitution and our Bill of Rights. I consider men deserve respect, and also is a veteran. Now, the point is, I will remind you briefly the story. He'll do it directly. But the sad thing is that there is a sad thing. How the judicial system, how the court system, unfortunately, in my opinion, according to facts, is completely a mess. It's corrupted. And you will see now. We are going back to before the pre-Magna Carta, in my opinion, where pretty much, the king had to put laws in writing. Otherwise, if they're not in writing, there are no laws. Just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean that it's a law. It must be something written. Otherwise, you can change your opinion. That's the definition also, civil society or just complete tyranny. Anyway, so let's see. Let's bring him back. As from Washington State, Anthony Bosworth. Anthony, are you there?
I am, Luca, and it's good to hear your voice again.
Thank you. And I'm glad to hear your voice too, of course, and I wish I had better news, but I'm trying to use whatever bad is coming out right now for something good, to at least show to the American people and to everybody listening around the world where we are right now in this moment, 2015, November 2015 in America, if we're still a country based upon the rule of law or just arbitrary of some sort of, capricious enforcement of the laws according to a judge that depends how he wakes up in the morning. So please remind briefly what happened to you a few months ago when you got arrested in front of the federal building in Washington, their state. Remind us briefly the story, and then we go straight to your case for the sentence.
Okay. All right. Here's several months ago, I was invited to participate in a 10th Amendment rally. A rally basically that's saying that the federal government is stepping over their sovereignty into state sovereignty rights. And it had to do with the legalization of marijuana in our state. But after that law had passed, the federal government was still arresting people for the use of medical marijuana within our state. They were prosecuting 5 people, and I was invited to participate in that rally as a member, just as a citizen. And I normally do Second Amendment rallies, but, our Constitution is our Constitution. One amendment is, the same as the next. And so I agreed to show up and help participate in the defense of our Constitution, even though that wasn't normally the Constitution that I rallied for, although, I supported it. And so I showed up to a rally, and I showed up a little early, and I was meeting with the leaders of this rally for the 10th Amendment there. And while I was there, I got grabbed by the federal officials interrogated for 6 hours, had my weapons removed. I was denied my request of an attorney at minimum of 6 times. I was laughed
Anthony,
at when I requested an attorney.
Let me stop you 1 second, Anthony. I want to just be sure that everybody understands that according to the state of Washington State, and your laws and your constitution, first of all, open carry, it's lawful, correct?
Correct.
Good. So you weren't breaking no law. Now, the problem all happened that you were in front of this, magic building called the Federal Building, where pretty much seems like when you're going close to the proximity of the Federal Building, the Bill of Rights goes to the trash. That you were in this park, in this area, just in front. You were inside. You were just in the square, correct?
Correct. I was on a public plaza.
Yes.
That was in front of the Federal Building.
Public plaza that I almost sarcastic that the only thing that was posted there were no signs that says no guns allowed, correct?
None at all. The only sign that was present on the plaza was a bronze copy of the Bill of Rights.
Perfect. It's almost like a slap on our face. This is so almost fun if it wasn't so serious. Now, so you were minding your business with your family. The video is out there. Everybody can watch it. Your lady, your daughters. And bottom line, you were doing your open carry on sling peacefully. And then you get approached by our overlords in uniform. That they are the Homeland Security. Who they were, these people? I forgot.
Yeah, they were Homeland Security and Federal Marshals.
Okay, so super gods. Okay. And they told you that you got to leave on the premises. Okay, you must leave, correct?
Correct. They told me I had to leave because I was breaking the law. I questioned them and asked them what law that I was breaking. They quoted 18 U.S.C. 930, which I was very familiar with. Mm-hmm. And I actually repeated the law to them word for word. And told them they were misinterpreting it, that's not what the law said.
And what exactly this law says? I'm just curious. I would like to learn here. This is a federal law or is it a state law?
It's a federal law. It's 18 U.S.C. United States Code.
Okay.
So it is a federal law.
So they said what does the law say? That you cannot carry a weapon in proximity of this federal building? What is exactly this law says?
No, what the law says in the particular area where it talks about it is saying that I cannot have a weapon inside courtrooms, corridors, hallways, and that house judges or prisoners, that type of thing. The law is very clear that I can be in 4 years. I can be in anywhere in the court building that is not. Contain the courtrooms or criminals.
You were outside on this court, not inside the building, and there was no sign posted. I mean, normally I know that everywhere they need to post a sign normally, but more important, you were inside the building. You were on this what's supposed to be considered a public property, correct?
Correct. They even refer to it in court as the public plaza.
Public plaza. Okay. So at the end of the day, you said, okay, I'm going to leave. Did you take a little extra time? But you were ready to leave. I saw the video. Wasn't right?
Correct. Basically what happened is I started in conversation with the Homeland Security Officer, Steve. I can never remember his last name, but we're talking about, where is the border between federal property and state property? Because I didn't want to start a issue over the Second Amendment at this rally, because that's not what the rally was for. This rally was for the 10th Amendment, and I just didn't want to interfere with the other party's rally. Yeah. And so I was willing to comply that day and say, okay, show me where I can stand while I'm exercising my right, my Second Amendment rights, and I'll proceed to that area, but I want you to show me the line. I want you to show me where I can legally stand by your opinion.
Okay.
And as him and I were discussing that, we're headed in that direction.
Yeah.
From the time he first made contact with me to the time that the federal marshals got involved, we had moved towards that property line about 15 feet as we're discussing it.
Wow.
Of course, from the other show I did with you and everything, I covered, the fact that the federal marshal come up, and I didn't right away identify him as a federal marshal. I thought he was just a liberal citizen barking orders, because the Homeland Security guy that was clearly in charge of the site at that moment was ignoring him. I mean, he was paying him no mind.
Yeah.
And so I directed my attention back to the Homeland Security officer that appeared to be in charge of the site.
Yeah, on top, he had an uniform, was easier to identify. That the guy looks like a regular moron, in my opinion. By the way, it seems like he has a big. And I'm not trying to be mean. You know, when you see somebody like a little kid that normally always get bullied at school, they can't wait to become some sort of position of power for revenge. He has some ego complex, in my opinion, this guy, seriously. Because, I mean,
yeah, he did.
Very insecure, very insecure. I mean, something should have been no drama. He made it become a huge drama to everybody, for everybody. Well, maybe there was a destiny. Let's see. So the bottom line that after all that, you got completely arrested. I would say almost kidnapped because they didn't let you have a lawyer for 6 hours. They didn't want to give you a phone. Right, to at least to call anybody. And they mentioned, I'm just reminded from the last interview, that bottom line that, you know, they almost laugh at you that right now with the National Defense Authorization Act, all they had to say that you can label you a terrorist or a suspected terrorist and you have no more rights. So we are living in a new America. Now, from there...
Exactly. Well, you know, Luca, of the things two of the things that happened while they were interrogating me, and another thing for your listeners to keep in mind, too, is they brought in the FBI and another agency and interrogated me for 6 hours. Wow. As far as like taking some of my clothes, taking my ID, throwing them on the floor. And keep in mind, I was inside of a jail cell, inside of a cage.
Wow.
So I was not just in a jail cell, I was actually in a cage inside of a jail cell.
Wow.
And this whole time they were interrogating me, you know, they had my clothes laying on the floor that they were walking on. They had my ID that they threw on the floor and was walking on. They were just, you know, they were pulling some old school tricks trying to interrogate me, you know, what was the intent of the Patriot movement, you know, that kind of stuff, who's leading it, how many people there are, you know, the same old questions they normally ask.
Yeah. No, this is so sad, and, you know, but now it gets worse. You know, in my opinion, it gets worse. From there, they let you go only after a lot of pressure from the community, from the local militia and the citizens that they're involved in to understand that we are pretty much now. If it wasn't for the people that around you that understand what's going on, we never heard from you anymore. I mean, the point is finally you get out, okay? And you had to go in front.
Well, you know, look, that was one of my fears when they grabbed me, and when I realized what was happening. Up until that point, I had broken no law.
Yeah.
I had violated nothing constitutional. I hadn't even broke or violated an unconstitutional law that they had on a book. At that moment, I was in the clear. I had not violated nothing.
Okay.
You know, and you and I both we have the understanding that there are constitutional laws and there's laws on the book that are not lawful, that they violate the Constitution.
Yeah, but
well, keep in mind, up to that point,
yeah,
I had not even broken one of their unconstitutional laws.
Yeah, so exactly. Now, the bottom line that after they release you and they press charges to you against you, but the bottom line that you had also an opportunity they give you a very easy deal. I mean, it was a super sweet deal. The federal prosecutors offer you, according to the news here that I'm reporting from the Spokesman Review, $50. You could have just paid a fine of $50 and you were free to go. Am I right?
Yes. As they tried to intimidate me in the months following, keep in mind I had Homeland Security call my home and just want to talk. They called my home and wanted to make sure that, excuse me a second here. Sorry about that.
No problem.
You know, they wanted to make sure that everything on my home front was staying nonviolent.
So the bottom line, no problem. So in a way, you were the bottom line that you had a choice to go to court. And let's see, I think we lost him. Anthony, are you still there?
Hey, it's Matt Shea. You gave me a call, I think, looking for Anthony Bosworth.
Sorry, Matt. The wrong number. We're online, on the air. But thank you, Matt. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Take care of yourself.
No problem. Yep. There we go. That was the big mystery. We got Matt Shea that was calling the same time when we had Anthony. Let me try to get back Anthony on the show here. Anthony, are you there? Anthony, are you still there?
I am.
Okay, I got lost. I got the call from Matt Shea that probably before I called him by accident. So sorry, we are getting here kind of crazy. But back to us. So what happened?
Well, let me step back just a little bit here
Yes.
and remind you this is stuff that was not put in the public paper.
Yeah.
Is they first offered me a $2 civil forfeiture.
Wow.
Basically, it wouldn't be a fine. There'd be nothing on my record or anything like that. It'd be just like they stopped me on the street and claimed $2 of mine out of my pocket as a civil forfeiture, and then I just walk away and they clear my record.
Oh my gosh, I never heard about this. Interesting.
And I laughed at him and told him that I would rather hang, and that's where the comment "I'd rather hang" come from.
Yeah.
When I first used it, but it's being misused in the public papers and everything.
Yeah.
And then later, about a month later, then they come up with a $50 fine.
Yeah.
After I turned down their $2 civil forfeiture.
So think about let's talk, guys. 1 second. I mean, listeners, think about it. Why you think the federal government, they're so powerful, that federal government that pretty much things can on our life would just settle for $2 or even $50 because they knew that they had nothing in their hands. There was no law really, and there was no science out there. It was just arbitrary power. Normally they don't do that, but they want to make a point. Even if you pay $1, they make a point that you were wrong. That's the bottom line. So for them, the victory, they said that, yes, the federal government is right. They want to give you the sugar as easy as possible to make you comply. So, you just pretty much lost $2. It's nothing. But what you gave them, if you were doing that, you were given the chance to say, you see, we were right. And that for them was the most important thing because they knew they had nothing in their hands. If they were so thinking that so sure they were right, forget about $2. They would have probably asked you $2,000, But let's go back there. So you say no to $50. You rather hang. So you go to court, correct?
Correct. After several trips across the state, and for a hearing for this and a hearing for that,
yeah,
they finally set a court date for me to go to court. And so we go into court, and keep in mind the court system brought in their assistant state prosecutor. This is the guy that only prosecutes cases like murder charges, capital offenses.
Wow.
Crimes of violence.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. He doesn't do traffic tickets. He doesn't do citations. This is one of the big guns that they brought in.
Yep. Now,
and then they subpoenaed more federal authorities as witnesses against me than what would be considered normal in a capital murder case.
Wow. Yeah, they're very afraid. They need to set an example, okay? If you ever try to dare to challenge the federal gods, we will smash your head like the mafia does. The mafia, once in a while, need to kill somebody because they need to show who is boss. That's the bottom line. So everybody else going to go back home and put their heads under the blankets. That's what they do. Sad, but truth. Now, you go there, by the way, this was a misdemeanor, so you were even under some sort of a felony case, okay? It was just a misdemeanor. That means, according to the system right now, that you don't even deserve anymore a jury of your peers. I mean, you were just under the authority of the government, and the state was also not just your enforcer, but also was your judge. I mean, just the judge was the one to decide your destiny, correct?
Correct. I requested a trial by jury of my peers 3 times, and I was denied all 3 times.
That's so sad.
Saying that I wasn't afforded a trial by jury because I was not at risk. And I argued that in court, and this is before I obtained my own attorney. I represented myself at this point.
Yeah.
And I argued the point that 30 days in a federal lockup, 5 years probation, and $4,000 fine is at risk. I mean, I lose my freedom for 30 days.
Yeah.
And I argued the point with the judges: if a man loses his freedom for even 1 day, his rights are at risk.
Yeah.
And the judge disagreed.
Yeah. This is insane. This is insane. It's completely, you don't need to be a genius. All you got to do, read the Bill of Rights. Everybody deserve, a jury by trial, a jury by your judged by your own peers, people of your own community, you know, for everything more than $20, for God's sake. And here, you're risking your life because, by the way, when you go into a jail, even for an hour, you never know if you're gonna make it back alive. Okay. So anyway, so you go to this kangaroo court and you get sentenced, right? So you lost the case. That's the bottom line, right?
Correct.
Now, what's gonna happen? How many days? What is exactly the price of they want to make you pay in every way? Because I want to show everybody around America where we are right now, that they can put you in front of a judge with now any type of check and balance for a misdemeanor, but this misdemeanor can send you straight to jail and give you worse, change your life. And more important, let's look at all the evidence. I would like to, my point is this one. This is no more the America that we are. When people say the land of the free, home of the brave, I'm sorry. It's gone. It's gone. Doesn't mean that we don't need to do anything more to get it back. We will fight every way we can to take it back. But meanwhile, we must admit the reality. We are not anymore under constitutional republic, and we have no more basic rights. We are under some sort of a tyranny that shows us this sort of, like a show. Yes, you still have a judge, but at the end of the day, look what happens to you. You don't even anymore the opportunity to be judged by your own peers. Now, what exactly, are you going to jail? What's going to happen to you?
Well, I still got a sentencing date where I got to go in on December 2nd and be sentenced now.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back a little bit, Luca.
Yeah.
Let's keep in mind that during the case, the judge denied us to submit to the court that I was denied an attorney 6 times.
Yeah.
He also denied us submitting to the court that I was never read my Miranda right.
Wow.
He denied all that to be entered into the court.
Mm-hmm.
He denied the actions of the federal marshals to be entered in the court.
Mm-hmm.
All basically, it pivoted on the fact was the law that I failed to comply with a lawful order. Well, in order for the order to be lawful, it has to be supported by law.
Exactly.
So basically, when the marshal said I was in violation of the law, therefore I had to leave, I had to actually be in violation of that law in order for that lawful order to kick in and apply.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
the judge found in his own wisdom that I was in fact in violation of the law, 18 U.S.C. 930.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, if I was actually in fact in violation of that law, I could be in prison for a year, $10,000 fine, lose my gun rights, and all that.
Yeah.
But that never come up.
Yeah.
The court did find that, in their wisdom, that I was in violation of the law. Therefore, the order was lawful. So therefore, I'm guilty of disobeying a lawful order. And so then it comes up to now on this failure to comply.
Yeah.
The judge also ordered a PSI, which is a pre-sentencing investigation.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, say if you're a drug addict or you're a rapist or a bank robber,
mm-hmm.
and you have a history of violence and crime,
yeah.
the judge is going to sentence you by your past history.
Yeah.
And so they do this pre-sentencing hearing that says, okay, how many times was he arrested for these violent crimes? Do we give him the minimum or the maximum?
Yeah.
Well, that's normally only done during violent crimes or habitual criminal activity. The judge orders a PSI knowing I have no criminal history whatsoever. And in this request for this investigation, he wants to know my financial status. He wants to know my mental state. He wants to know, where I live. All this stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with this kangaroo court's, sleazy actions of finding me guilty for a crime that I clearly did not commit.
Wow. Oh, this is amazing. And also the fact that what you just said, not just because somebody has a uniform can say, okay, this is the law. The law must be proven. The law must be in writing. I mean, for what I understand, they had to pass some sort of a special ordinance or something they had to add. They, after your situation, after your episode, they had to put out something that they were say, okay, this area now it's gun-free zone. But before, that means admitted that they were before wasn't gun-free zone area. Is that true?
That's correct. What happened is 3 days after my arrest, another federal judge wrote an edict. She made law herself. I mean, this wasn't something that Congress did.
Yeah.
She wrote a law that said that the authority of that law extends to the public areas outside of the building.
Yeah.
When the law clearly says inside the building in certain areas.
Yeah.
Well, she wrote law. She was in violation of. She assumed congressional authority.
Yeah, I
when
mean,
she did that.
Let's think, listeners.
And-
think about that, listeners. The judge completely subvert the law, and this law is supposed to apply only inside the federal building. And now they say after your situation, because they knew that they had no leg to stand, okay, and they say, okay, let's do outside now. What if this judge instead and say, or just around, I don't know, the perimeter of the court there, the plaza, whatever you want to call it, why don't we do 2 miles around the federal building? Why not 3 miles? I mean, if they can do like arbitrarily change the law, they could change anyway, maybe the whole city of Spokane or the whole town. Who knows? I mean, that's amazing.
Well, Luca, it gets crazier than that, Luca, because they actually pulled that in this case.
Wow.
And because we haven't talked about that yet. Basically, how they found me guilty, Luca, is they claim there is a hidden parking garage for federal employees underneath that public plaza. So they claim, without showing proof in court, because they claim national security, that there is a federal facility underneath that public street and that public plaza.
Wow.
And so they said I was guilty simply for the fact that I was standing on ground above a federal facility that they refused to prove in court that's there because of national security. So basically, and they claim also it runs under the public street, that the land that's owned by the state. But they said I was guilty because I was standing above it.
Wow.
So by the precedents they set in court that day is you could be on state land, and if there is a federal facility or a federally owned property underneath your feet somewhere, you are now punishable by federal law and federal jurisdiction.
Wow.
Well,
this is almost
I
like
had a couple of attorneys play with that idea. Well, what exactly does that mean? And a couple of attorneys I talked to said simply if they have a phone line or a gas line or a information coax buried underground under private property, state property, wherever, by the precedents they set that day, they can claim federal jurisdiction simply because the person was standing on top of the ground above it.
Wow, this is amazing. This is like almost seems like the time of kings, when the king says, you know, this is the king's road, or this is the king's land, and everything above and beyond or under, it's mine. If you walk over, you know, it's still, you owe me anything. You have no rights. This is amazing. No, seriously, this is amazing in a bad way. So anyway, all I wanted to share this to the rest of the world. It's not just America. Of course, for America, it's different because we have a right that most of the world, probably the rest of the world, does not have. The right to keep and bear arms. And this is about exactly what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to destroy every right one by one, and they're trying to make a point and trying to use, at this point, complete tyranny. Because I tell you, when there is no more check and balance, there are no written laws, and there is just the arbitrary power of some, you know, I want to call them clowns in uniform, but for me at this point, they are worse than clowns. They are Gestapos, just because they think they can do that. You know, it's sad, this federal marshal or these Homeland Security people, they have a uniform. What they're doing to them, to you, what they've done to you, they don't realize if they have son or daughter, they're going to leave behind the legacy, first of all, of complete, you know, disgrace. But worse than that, they will leave the example and the setting the wall, excuse me, the road paved for this new type of tyranny, because now they will leave behind, they're creating a new America where we have no more the rule of law, we have no more our basic individual rights, but we are living pretty much just because the federal government can tell you that now you walking over some sort of underground pipeline or whatever they can make up. You don't even know really what's going on under the ground. I mean, what do you think you're going to do with your little, your rifle? There was no even with the round in the chamber. There was no even armed. Your rifle was even loaded. What do you think they're going to do? Start to shoot the ground and go down? I mean, it's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Listen, what people can do for you? If there is something we can do, I mean, what do you think can we do?
Well, we're going to appeal it, of course. It's on its way now. We can't appeal until after I'm sentenced. And so pretty much no matter what, I'm going to spend my time in federal lockup.
Yeah.
Simply because by the time the appeal is approved, my federal lockup time will be over. So once I'm sentenced and everything, we're going to appeal it, and it will be headed to the Ninth District Court of Appeals.
Yeah.
And then in doing so, we're also laying the groundwork and the paperwork for it to go to the Supreme Court. Of course, we all know that that's pretty spendy and everything. And so if people want to donate to my legal fund, I encourage them to do so.
What is the website?
Because, this is not just my rights that they're violating. It's not just my Constitution that they're violating. It's your guys' Constitution too, and if they can get this precedent set with me, they can enforce it upon you.
Exactly, and I want to remind everybody, I don't care if you are into the Second Amendment or not, think about the basic here. There was no law, nothing in writing. That too, the judge, after I tried to pass some sort of a court order or whatever to declare this area is a public area, the square, not the federal building, the square, they tried to make some sort of a court ordinance to try to say, okay, now we not allow any more guns. So there was nothing. At the time when you were walking there, you didn't break any law. You were observing and, complying with the state law of open carry, and you never had a record. I mean, you were doing everything by the book, okay? And they offer you first $2 and then $50 fine just to say, okay, tell us that you were wrong, and then we'll let you go. And then, of course, when you didn't go with that, they had to show who is boss, and they had to show you that now to the rest of us that we must always put our head down when the federal gods tell us to jump, we're supposed to jump. And you didn't jump. And I'm glad about that. At the same time, I really say I'm sorry that happened to you, but at the same time, there is a good side. The good side that now another example like yours should make understand the rest of America that this is no more America with a C, this is America with a K. We are right now already under soft martial law. If a judge can put you in jail when there is no law and does even give you the right, according to our Bill of Rights, to have a jury of your peers, to be sentenced. This is 30 days in jail. It's not a game, okay? Federal prison, for God's sake, federal jail. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is serious. So tell us the website where how can people reach you out to send you some donations for your legal fund?
Well, we have our Facebook page, Liberty for All, or LFA 3% Washington.
Okay.
We also have a Arizona Liberty for All. I can be reached by either one of those. I can't remember the PayPal account for the legal donation right off the top of my head.
I'll put a link on today's show, lovegunsfreedom.com, directly to the Facebook page that, you are there so people can contact you. And, of course, they can organize. And, guys, seriously, everybody can somehow save $5, $2 from Starbucks or whatever you get your coffee. This is something very important. May happen right now in Washington State. Tomorrow may happen in front of your home or maybe at your state capital. And more important, we gotta stand together, or we really pretty much hang, divided, and that's gonna be so terrible. Listen, I want to say again, you have all my respect, and I still pray that somehow maybe some appeal. Because I hope you can fight it all the way back. I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you this is complete. In my opinion, according to the facts I see, it is just an act of arbitrary, completely tyranny. When the tyranny means that there is no more law, there is a completely people like the judge and these federal agents, they can pretty much decide everything they want. And when there was no law and there's nothing in writing, and they can tell you still you're guilty, this is for me so sad for America and for all of us. So I hope we can find a way. So when is going to be your appeal? You have a lawyer now to help you out?
I actually do. I retained a lawyer for the first case, and he's going to take on the appeal. And so I'll be appearing in court on December 2nd for the sentencing. And then at that moment, we will file for the appeal officially.
Okay. Listen, I pray for you and your family. And please, let's be in touch. And whenever you have final notes where you're going, what's going to happen, keep us posted, okay?
I'll definitely do that, Luca.
Thank you, Anthony. And guys, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Please go to lovegunsfreedom.com. Today's show is exactly the one November the 15th. There is a dedicated page, and I will post the link directly to Anthony Bosworth from Washington State for his legal team, Legal Defense. Please donate everything you can. I'll donate myself something. Thank you very much. Don't go away. You got more now. We're going to have more guns news, more Second Amendment news, and God help us.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Luca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Luca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.